So, paradigm-shifting UFO technology that alters space-time is operable. This is what a U.S. Navy Chief Technical Officer states. This is by Steve McCamley, Collective Spark. Recently scrolling through Twitter feed of Christopher Mellon, former Deputy Assistant Defense Secretary for Intelligence from 1997 to 2002. In doing so, he said he came across an interesting post from the Drive regarding documents they received via the Freedom of Information Act FOIA regarding a space-time modification weapon, quote unquote, developed for the U.S. Navy, which apparently has already gone through experimental testing. This in turn, he said, led me to evidence suggesting that other revolutionary type of technology that could no doubt be used to change the world for the better in a major way was already operable, quote unquote. On a side note, Mellon is one of many with such a background who has been speaking up about and creating awareness regarding the reality of the UFO phenomenon for years now. He was part of the mainstream UFO disclosure initiative to the stars, which seems to be, in my opinion, a Department of Defense mainstream UFO disclosure initiative. Now we know that the U.S. Pentagon will be disclosing UFO information to us on June 1st. Now, as far as John Radcliffe stated to Maria Bartiromo a few days ago, kindly support my Patreon account since YouTube has again demonetized my YouTube channel. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. Now, Mellon said that he's left the initiative and has been heavily scrutinized by UFO researchers who feel it portrays the phenomenon with a threat narrative attached to it when there is no need and evidence to do so. Back to the topic. In 2018, inventor Salvatore Cesar Pais presented a paper titled Room Temperature Superconducting System for use on a hybrid aerospace undersea craft, end quote. Room temperature. Well, so that's great. At the 2019 American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics Sci-Tech Forum in San Diego in January 2019. In the paper, Pais writes that, quote, the achievement of room temperature superconductivity, or RTSC for short, represents a highly disruptive technology, capable of the total paradigm change in science and technology, and adds that its military and commercial value is considerable. The paper says, quote, the subject matter of this paper describes the design of an active room temperature superconductor to be incorporated within the hybrid aerospace undersea craft, HAUC, described in a recently published paper, a hybrid craft using an inertial mass modification device. The grant patent application for the HAUC describes this craft with its capabilities to alter space-time around the craft. This is what it says. It's possible to envision hybrid aerospace undersea craft, HAUC, which can function as a submersible craft capable of extreme underwater speeds, lack of water skiing friction, and enhanced aerial underwater stealth capabilities, non-linear scattering of RF and sonar signals. This hybrid craft would move with great ease through the airspace water mediums by being enclosed in a vacuum plasma bubble sheath due to the coupled effects of electromagnetic field-induced air-water particles repulsion and vacuum energy polarization. You can understand how this technology is really UFO technology. I mean, there's actually no friction in air or water. Now, artificially, it goes on to say, artificially generated high-energy electromagnetic fields, such as those generated with a high-energy electromagnetic field generator, HEEMFG, interact strongly with the vacuum energy state. The vacuum energy state can be described as an aggregate collective state comprised of the superposition of all quantum fields, fluctuations permeating the entire fabric of space-time. High energy interaction with the vacuum energy state can give rise to emergent physical phenomenon such as force and matter fields unification, According to quantum field theory, this strong interaction between the fields is based on the mechanism of transfer of vibrational energy between the fields. The transfer of vibrational energy further induces local fluctuations in adjacent quantum fields which permeate space-time, and these fields may or may not be electromagnetic in nature. Matter, energy, and space-time are all emergent constructs which arise out of the fundamental framework that is the vacuum energy state. Now, after reading this, it reminds me of what's known as the Alcubierre drive, which would involve placing a craft within a space that's moving faster than the speed of light. Therefore, this craft itself does not have to travel at the speed of light from its own type of propulsion system. Just think of a flat escalator in an airport. The escalator moves faster than you are walking. In this case, the space encompassing the ship would be moving faster than the ship could fly, keeping all of the matter of the ship together and intact. Dr. Alcubierre says, by creating a warp bubble that expands space on one side of the ship and contracts it on the other, the spaceship will be pushed away from the Earth and pulled towards a distant star by space-time itself. While we still cannot break the speed of light, we don't need to in order to become an interstellar species. This is what Gianni Martyr, scientist and applied physics, says. Our warp drive research has the potential to unite us all. Martyr and the team at Applied Physics recently announced the first model of physics warp drives. The group study was conducted in close contact with distinguished research in warp field mechanics, including receiving blessings from the esteemed theoretical physicist Miguel Alcubierre, with findings being published in the peer-reviewed journal Classical and Quantum Gravity. And as you can see, these types of ideas are going mainstream. But is this type of thing operable with the black budget world, a world that seems to have access to unlimited sources? According to the drive, we have several active Freedom of Information Act requests with the Department of Navy to pursue more information related to the research that led to these patents. As those are being processed, we've continued to dig through the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office's public patent application information retrieval database to get as much context for these patents as possible. And in doing so, we came across documents that seem to suggest, at least by the Navy's own claims, that two highly peculiar Navy patents, the room temperature superconductor RTSC and the high energy electromagnetic field generator HEE-MFG, may in fact already be in operation in some manner. The inventor of the Navy's most bizarre patent, the straight out of science fiction sounding hybrid aerospace underwater craft, describes this craft as leveraging the same room temperature superconductor technology in high energy electromagnetic fields to enable its unbelievable speed and maneuverability. Now, Naval Aviation Enterprise Chief Technology Officer Dr. James Sheehy wrote a letter to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office personally to vouch for the room temperature superconductor, going so far as to declare that the RTSC is operable and enabled via the physics described in the patent application and Pais's publications. Steve Justice, a recently retired director of advanced systems at Lockheed Skunk Works, has also alluded to the idea that this type of technology is real. He has been quite outspoken about the black budget world and crafts that can mimic the capabilities that are observed in unidentified aerial phenomena, the UFOs. In other words, by, as he said once, employing a driver system that alters the space-time metric. He once stated, as I've quoted before, that, quote, "We have glimpses of how the physics of this works, but we need to harvest technology from the science division to realize the capability." By stating this, it's another way of saying that these technologies exist within the science division, wherever that may be. And on top of this, you have the phenomenon of UFO crash retrievals. Apollo 14 astronaut Dr. Edgar Mitchell once said, "Yes, there have been crashed craft and bodies recovered. Could some of these supposed technologies and capabilities written about in this article have been developed and discovered from the attempted reverse engineering of crashed UFOs? It's now highly visible to take care of everybody on Earth at a higher standard of living than any ever known before. It no longer has to be on us. Selfishness is unnecessary. So we could use this type of technology for energy enough to satisfy the whole world. So please leave your comments. This is amazing technological bounds. In other words, warp drives, space-time continuums. What can I tell you? It's as if you're walking on an escalator, you don't feel anything. Matter and the weight and everything keep constant. Amazing stuff. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. This is on Collective Spark.